Right, hello and welcome everybody. In this video I'm going to do a full test on the graphics on Siege of Shanghai in the Battlefield beta. And what I'm going to be using for this test is I'm going to be testing the NVIDIA GTX 560Ti, which the one here is a Palit Sonic Edition running at 900 megahertz, not overclocked, that's how it comes out of the box. However, I'm going to be running at 1680 by 1050 and I'm going to be looking through the low, medium and high settings to show you the difference in the card and whether or not the card will play it in terms of frame rates. So at the moment we're going to go and sit onto the game and then set it up. But first of all I'm going to show you the graphics. So you just click into the graphics and options and I go to video, and what I've got at the moment is I've got 1680 by 1050 full screen. Interesting enough, you can change the brightness, you can have vertical sync on. Field of view is interesting because it's set at 71, but for it, if you can up it and widen your angle of view, which is pretty good for watching those soldiers nicking out of your right and left. So I'm just going to set it up to 80 from 70, so just to check it out. I might have to put it back. I'm turn my motion blur down, don't like it. So resolution scale, so it's all on low settings with some texture filtering, and you can only change at the moment. You've got ultra, high, medium, low, and auto, but I can't. Oh yes, I can. I want a custom. I can change everything if I wanted to. So I'm just going to go for the standard low settings, which have some high texture filtering, and the anti-aliasing is off. So let's go and see the differences, and we'll start with this one. So this is 1680 by 1050, and this is on the low settings. Still get some good water quality, but you can see that some of the textures on the left are the statues and some of the textures are not as bright. So let's just switch to the next setting. So some slight differences on the building settings, and some clarity on near textures on the pavings and the water. Not much difference, but not really much difference visible really on this picture. Right, you can definitely see better water textures, but the graphics card 560 Ti is already, the fan has already upped its speed, and you can start to hear the fan. So obviously the CPU is GPU is under pressure already. So let's go to the ultra settings. Right, I've got noticeable slowdown here on ultra settings in terms of frame rates. I'm only running at 21 frames, but it was 28 with without fraps on. But definitely the water is upgraded, and you can now see clearer textures. What I'm going to do now is going to go off the top of this tower and look at long range settings and do that then from there. Just to show you, it does work in terms of the ultra settings, because as we go on, but the frame rates are sitting at 22 frames per second, and it's not. I mean, they're fantastic graphics. This is 1680, so we're going to go up there now. And what happens when you go in the water? Oh, it's actually working alright, but you can see the fancy graphics. Now, it may be the case we turn the water textures down. It might be better, so what we're going to do is we'll go right to the top of the building. So we're now on top on 1680 1050 ultra settings. You can see the shiny marble. And what I'm going to do is going to take some shots off the top of the building to have a look at. And you can see the graphics, but there you go, there's lots of judder there as soon as you got to the wider expanse. So here we are for the low settings, details very low, but you can still see outlines of blocks and buildings, etc. So let's go to the medium settings. Slightly better textures now on the weapons, and the ground textures isn't so undefined, but there's not much really difference apparently in visual from low to medium. So when you get to high settings, the guns are better, and the water is better, and some of the building textures are better, but not too much. So on ultra settings here, can't notice in this distance, going long distance, but it is definitely better. So new location on top of a medium-sized roof from the top, and you can see here where there's a back down to low settings. The buildings are there, but they don't have any reflections. They're quite plain textures. The building on the right has actually got no texture. The water still has textures under low settings, but really not too much. Let's switch back. So here's where you can see the difference between low and medium. You can see now the building on the right, the biggest building on the game. You can see now there's more clearer textures on the glass. So that it's actually definition of the buildings, and the water is now more consistent as well. So there's a first time we see a major difference between low and medium. So now a marked upgrade from water, and some of the building textures are better and glass is better, and lighting effects in terms of those the tracers going through the sky, and you can see the building on the right there's far better than it was on there. So medium to high, there's definitely another marked difference on this sort of range. Let's go to the ultra settings then. So we're on ultra settings now. Not the water, you can see the water, and the smoke effects are better, tracer effects are better, glass, but on medium to long-term textures, long-term texture over there, you will only notice a difference when we switch from one to the other on the video, but when you run round you definitely notice the ultra settings being crystal clear, trees and small items etc far clearer. So there you go, that's at 1680 by 1050 settings, and that's on a GTX 560 Ti. So we're going to do some more videos. We're going to go up on the next video, up it to 1920 by 1080 to see, but you can get away with this graphics card with playing at medium settings, and I'm sure if you tweaked it and made some custom settings it would quite happily play at medium settings, around about 30 to 35 frames a second though. Once you get to ultra you're down to 25 frames a second, and it's just not going to cut it on this graphics card. And remember, I'll put the full specs of the computer on the bottom of the video. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and thanks for watching, and I'm going to be doing some more of these.